Today I'm riding in North Vancouver, BC, and I'm at the top of the Bobsled trail, and I'm going to rip down that. Bobsled is one of the most popular trails in all of North Shore because of how fun and flowy it is. And in fact, Trailforks ranks it as the #1 trail in the whole world. And while I am not so sure about that, I think it might be one of the best flow trails in the world. So let's go check this out and see what you think. So let's go ripper.
The Bobsled Trail in Mount From region of North Vancouver has been one of my favorite mountain biking trails for many years.
So I rode Bobsled last week, and I noticed there was some very cool new side hits. So the idea of today's video was to showcase those. Here's one of them.
While I've always considered Bobsled a good trail, I must also admit that I probably overlooked this trail because it has typically been my warm-up trail before heading higher up the mountain to ride the expert level trails. In fact, I have so overlooked this trail that I didn't even include it in my top 100 list.
So here's a pedally section right here.
But the trail deserves a rethink.
With these beautiful big berms that allow you to maintain your pace around the corners, and all these cool little rollers. Another very high berm. And then we come up to this wall ride where you can ride high up like that or lower down. And here's a gap. Minor, still very, got a little huck. Okay, well, I was digger working on the trail today. Yeah, one of the usual trail crews here does an excellent job. And I think I got to give Digger credit for all these really cool new side hits. Okay, so for me, that was the main course. Let's go back and re-ride and session some of the optional things. Have a good look. Okay, here's the first new feature. There is a jump ramp off this rock to a gap with a landing down here as the harder line. There's a second line. As it sweeps around, you veer into this second ramp and get some air right here. And the third line is just the main intermediate course right there with a nice big berm following the landing. So the gap, I'm thinking, is 10, 12 feet. Okay, this is the gap jump session. Okay, there's a new line to the left coming up here. And this one too. Okay, here's the new gap jump, and you can see it's signed with a black and about a, I don't know, 3 or 4 foot gap landing. And the cool thing is it provides water drainage to drain the trail as part of the gap. What a great utilization of trail features. And here's a gap. And this one too. Very cool. Okay, so here's the very cool jump feature where you can see from this side that the ramps actually have a roll in. So you can roll it or you can jump it. And there's 3 lines. There's the intermediate bypass here. In fact, there's even a little ramp right there at the little huck. I never noticed that before. Little ramp right down there. Then there's the black line to this. And I guess this is the double black line to this. And again, you can roll it or jump it. And the height is maybe another 18 inches higher or so, 2 feet. And the other thing is the landing, that depending on the speed you take the black line, you can land way down here, which is usually where I land. So the cumulative drop is maybe 5 or 6 feet, maybe 7, I don't know. So depending on the pace you take the black line, you may actually get more drop than if you slow roll the double black line and land right here. So you got a whole range of very cool options.
So now let's compare bobsled against some other excellent flowy trails that I have also ridden. And as of February 2025, I've also ridden over 1,700 separate trails, many of which have flow trail characteristics. So in order to provide a fair comparison for bobsled with the other flow trails, I offer you my current list of the top 25 flowy trails as shown. And so now I present the videos for these other trail rides. The Half Nelson Trail in Squamish, BC is the epitome of a flow trail, and I would argue that it has become the model for other flowy trails that I've ridden elsewhere. It has high bermy corners with numerous tight S-turn switchbacks, and a dozen or more jumpable rollers if you carry enough speed. When the trail's been freshly groomed, it offers an outstanding rip down the mountain. But other than 2 ladder bridges, the trail doesn't have any other wooden features, and no optional lines with harder features. Sudasuga is a similarly constructed trail, also without optional lines. The Pool Ice Rink Trail in Eagle, Colorado is a very cool bermy trail that meanders through a forest, often using bushes or tree clusters to navigate around, which provides a very cool high-speed experience. And while there are a half dozen sizable rollers which can be jumped, it doesn't offer any spicy jump or wooden features. The Upper Stage Left Trail in Draper, Utah is a very cool long rip down a bench cut above a valley and offering very scenic views of the Draper community down below, but it's mostly a bermy switch cut along its entire length. Enduro, in Fairfax, California, looks like it was modeled after Half Nelson, with very high berms and a dozen or more tight S-turns with a few jumpable rollers. You hardly need to pedal or brake along the way, but you won't find any optional, harder side hits.
Oh yeah, I love these real tight S-turns.
The Ribcage Trail in Cortez, Colorado is a smooth, bermy rip, but while the fairly high berms help you maintain your speed, it has 2 or 3 fairly pedally sections which require to earn your pace to jump the dozen or more jumpable rollers. If you can take your eyes off the trail for a moment, you'll also enjoy a fairly scenic descent. The Zippity Doodah Trail in Fruita, Colorado is one of the most interesting and unique flowy trails in this list. It rides mostly along a ridgeline at the top of a sequence of sand dunes, with sections of bench-cut single track, but with a number of ripping steep descents. So it's a very scenic and high-speed rip, but it also has a number of punchy climbs to regain elevation for the next descent. And it doesn't have any optional lines. The Pamplemousse Trail in Squamish, BC is a ripping, mostly bench-cut trail with numerous bermy switchbacks and a few steep descents. So it is very high-paced and offers a few optional lines, including a gap jump across the main trail further down. But it suffers from frequent brake bumps and erosion in the steep chutes, so it requires frequent trail maintenance, and it's often quite bumpy. So there you have it. Let me know what you think and where you would rank bobsled as a flow trail. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.